416 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque at 0 RPM, 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, standing quarter mile in 13.3 seconds at 104 miles an hour, and it's mine. This is the all-electric Tesla Model S, the first truly exciting electric car. Tesla Motors loaned Ars one for 3 days, and our mission was to drive it from Houston to Austin and back and find out just how good of a car they've made. Sure, it looks sharp, and it goes 260 miles on a single charge, but do the components mesh together? Do all the specs add up to make a machine that actually drives well? Hell yes.
All right, we are in the driveway of my buddy Steve, who's holding the camera, and we are going to commence our trip here from Houston to Austin. Actually, we're going to stop at the Columbus supercharger station and gas up, and then resume our journey to Austin, grab some tacos there, and then flip around and come back. The car right now says we have 166 miles of projected range, and we are 104 miles from the supercharger station in Columbus.
From my side of town to Columbus is about 90 minutes, but as we set out, we realized we'd been a bit optimistic on the car's range.
It's 100 miles away, and the car is saying we're going to have about 122 miles of range now that we're actually on the road and driving. Rather than risk potentially getting stranded, no matter how cool a video that would make, we're going to make a quick stop at the Houston Galleria Tesla store. That should give us about 50 extra miles if we can stop for about an hour. Oh, traffic! Oh, come on! Here, film that!
Because it was a day that ended in Y, we had a bit of traffic to sit through as we headed uptown to the Houston Galleria, where Tesla maintains a no-sales showroom and a pair of chargers for owners looking to top off.
We're at the Galleria Tesla dealership. It's actually right above our heads right now. This is the garage underneath, and we are going to plug in this HPWC, a high-powered wall connector, to charge our car up for about 50 miles of additional range before we head out to Columbus. These things are really cool. So this is the same type of plug that is on the adapters inside the car that come with the car. So the way these work is there's a little button here on the charger, and you sort of hold it close to the plug and press it like that. Then the little charging port turns white, which means it's ready. You plug, and it turns blue. Car starts charging, and it turns green. If we wanted to wait a full 3 hours, we could charge the entire car up. We don't want to wait that long. But we're going to let this thing sit here for about an hour and cook while we pull in another 40, 50 miles of range. That'll give us a comfortable margin for the Columbus trip. We'll be back in a little bit.
We headed upstairs to the Tesla showroom to bathe in the high-tech coolness of it all. After chatting with the staff until they were sick of us, we still had about 45 minutes to kill, so we entertained ourselves. All right, enough of that. After an hour, we were charged enough to easily make it to Columbus, so with 183 miles on the clock, we unplugged and got out onto the open Texas highways.
It's really interesting because you'd think with an electric car that it would be very, very, very quiet, and at low speed it is. Because this is the P85 Plus version of the vehicle, it's got these gigantic 21-inch tires, and the tires are actually really noisy. In fact, it's noisier in the cabin with the wind noise than it is in the type of car that this is competing with. So here's what the cabin sounds like without any noise cancellation, with the noise picked up from the lav mic and the on-camera mic. Sounds about like that.
And so, a few hours into my time with the Model S, I was loving it, especially the part about how fast it goes.
When you're actually behind the wheel, it feels like a car. I mean, there's nothing really different about this between driving this and driving any other car. It does not feel like a weird electric car. All the controls are in the right place and everything simply works. The difference, of course, is that there are just absolutely bucketfuls of torque available when you want to stomp on it. It's almost difficult to describe. It's like there's a there's a faucet, and you can crank the faucet open, and like this never-ending waterfall of torque just flies out and knocks the camera off the dashboard. And I mean, now we're going 100. Okay, hold on. And then the regenerative braking kicks in and draws the car all the way right back down to where you put it.
Tesla's Columbus supercharger was empty, so we had our choice of high-voltage stations to repeatedly pull into and drive out of to get just the right shot, because that's how these videos work.
And we are going to juice up and then run across the street here and grab some Mexican food while the car grabs some tasty, tasty electricity.
It was a little shocking just how much power the supercharger shot into the car. It's like a whole data center pouring into your battery. While the car drank down a Niagara Falls of energy, we relaxed by the pool. After about an hour, it was time to go.
According to the thing here, we have put on 183 miles of charge in less than an hour. The charge rate now is sort of tapering off as it gets full. It's showing that it's pulling electricity at 403 volts and 24 amps. When we first started, the amperage was way up. It was pulling over 300 amps to do a fast initial charge. The car is still taking on electricity at a rate sufficient to give it 164 miles of charge range per hour of charge. When we first plugged the car in, actually, there was all this fan and mechanical noise that started coming out of the front of the car, probably as the battery cooling system started to fire off to keep the battery cool while that much electricity and juice was just dumped into it.
It was about 80 miles to Austin. We had a full tank of juice, no cigarettes, it's daytime, and I was wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
We've actually altered our plans slightly because it's getting pretty late in the day. It's already almost 3 o'clock. We've taken about 5 hours on a journey that ordinarily should take 3. Instead of going all the way into Austin, we're going to make our turnaround point the Buc-ee's gas station at Bastrop, and we're about 20 miles out of that. Driven 59 miles to Bastrop to the Buc-ee's here, which was totally awesome. The average speed that we were at, we drove between 80 and 90 the entire way here because that was how fast traffic was going. And as you can see from the readout, the average electricity or the average watt hour per mile that we've been running at has been 380, and the rated watt hour per mile is 300. So the way that the car calculates range is the 260 miles that it told us we had when we were full was based on an average consumption of 300 watt hour per mile. Well, we've been exceeding that, and so our projected range has been dropping pretty significantly. In fact, based on our last 30 miles of travel, even though the rated range on the gauge right now shows 174, the projected range based on how fast we've been going is only 130. So we've used out of the rated range almost 100 miles to travel the 59 or 60 it's taken to get from Columbus to Bastrop. And I'm expecting the car down to be pretty low down on power. We're gonna have burned through quite a bit of energy getting back because traffic on the other side of the road was moving at about the same speed. So we will check back in when we are back at Columbus, where we will supercharge back up. And rain. All right, it's 5:45 p.m. We are charged back up. So if you'll take a peek here at our screen, you notice we are at 263 miles of charge. So we're going to jump on the road here and get going.
And get going we did. But we still had a lot of filming to do, which meant we needed to top off again at the Galleria. I've got a lot more to say about the Model S in our long-form feature, but I loved my time with the car. Tesla spoiled us with the overpowered P85 Plus model, and it is every inch a wonderful, drivable, ludicrously fast car. If I'd had a charger in my garage to plug it in at the end of the trip, it would have been perfect.
Assuming we don't go too crazy, we should be able to get there with plenty of juice to spare. Here we go. Oh, we're driving with the trunk open.